Mr. Transformers 96 here with another video review. This time we'll be talking about some newly shown items from Tokyo Comic Con, and this time we have the Studio Series Transformers figures. So I am making several videos discussing the figures that I find most interesting shown at Tokyo Comic Con, so feel free to check some of those out. But in this video I'm going to be talking about the Studio Series figures. I'm going to be talking about all of the ones that have been shown. So I decided not to break it up because we've seen every single one of these in the past. This might be the first time we're seeing them on display though. This might be the best image we have of them, and therefore it's worth making another video for. We're also getting a lot of good shots of these figures compared to the other figures, so you could really get a good idea of their scale. But there's no specifically new figure here that we have never seen before in any capacity, so I am going to talk about them all at once. So let's start off just in order. Here we have the leader class Megatron. Now, you know, we've seen this figure 3 times now, and every single time we just get a little bit of a better glimpse of it. I wish that they would show it without the hood, because without the hood you can really get an idea of the actual figure himself, because the hood it just kind of shadows everything, and it really is hard to tell what you're looking at when it comes to the torso. So this is the best image we have of it so far though. Hopefully by the 4th image we'll actually get a good idea of what the figure fully looks like. But overall I'm really liking the way this figure is looking. A lot of people are making fun of the hood. It looks like just a big leaf. Yeah, if you can't do a cloth that's heavy enough to hang naturalistically, it's just not worth doing. I really liked what they did with the original one back in 2011 with the kind of rubberized one that was sculpted to kind of fit around him, and therefore it looked like it was draping really nicely. I'm a big fan of that hood. I think it works really nicely. Would have really much preferred them stick with that type of design, but I do appreciate them trying to go to cloth, but they've used like a paperish cheap cloth instead of a cloth, and therefore it really doesn't give the desired effect. So personally, I won't be displaying him with that at all. So I'd love for them to show him without it, I must say. But overall, I think that he's looking really nice. He's looking nicer and nicer every time I see him. The legs looked a little thin towards the thighs, and then they bulked up towards the bottom of the legs. However, in this image, the thighs look properly bulky. You know, maybe they could be slightly more bulky, but they don't look nearly as bad as I thought they did the original time I saw them. The arms look really nicely well proportioned. The torso, from what we can see, is good, but again, I can't really see a ton with it. I do see the chain though that does wrap around his torso, which is really cool. That's something that the original one did not have, which of course is featured very prominently on the one in the film, so it is nice to see them rectify that. The color scheme is good. It's a mix mash of different things, but I do like their attempt at giving him that kind of rusted look, and because he obviously has a very rusted, torn down type of look in Dark of the Moon, so I do appreciate their attempting to recreate that here. I think that it does look nice, and he does come with his little like kind of Igor pet, which is fun. Not necessary in the slightest, but I think it's really fun that he comes with him. The face sculpt looks really cool. Again, I want to see it without the hood, but from what we can see, it looks really awesome. I'm a big fan of the design there, and it looks like they're really nailing it. Yeah, I'm pretty excited for this one. And of course, if you didn't know, it is the leader class, so it is in a much better scale than the original one. But yeah, the little Igor is a fun one. And then his robot mode, or his vehicle mode, looks great. I really like it. Here's a nice display of all the movie 1 Transformers from the Studio Series, which is really cool. They're doing basically all the classic Autobots and Decepticons. They've practically done every single character that was in that movie, considering that movie has such a limited cast when it comes to Transformers. The only one that they're clearly missing is Megatron. Obviously, they're doing Megatron in other films, which is nice and certainly welcome. But I would love a movie 1 Megatron to go with the movie 1 Decepticon team that they've built here. But this is great to see scale. As you can see, they do have Blackout's legs fully extended, and therefore it gives him a little extra height. But when you have his legs properly transformed, he should be a little bit shorter than that. But he does still provide a lot of bulk. But that Voyager Starscream is just so large that they're about the same size, to be honest. I'm surprised at how small Bonecrusher is. Bonecrusher looks smaller than I expected. He almost looks deluxe there, especially in vehicle mode. In robot mode, he looks wide, but he's just so short that he gives him a really small look, I must say. But the Decepticons together, I think, look incredible, and I can't wait to complete that set. Then we have the Revenge of the Fallen. Now, they don't have all their Revenge of the Fallen figures here, because they did show, of course, Lawn Hall, as well as I could swear they showed one more Constructicon. Maybe they didn't, but they don't have Lawn Hall here. And unfortunately, that prototype Devastator isn't on display either. But that's okay. They do have some nice figures here. They have Jetfire, as well as the kind of combined Optimus Prime with the Jetfire parts, which I think looks really cool. This is the best image that we've seen of that one, which is very nice. I think that he does look very cool. Rampage is looking great, just like before, and then Scrapmetal looks nice, like I've mentioned before. The other ones are a little bit are ones that are already out. Then we have Dark of the Moon. They haven't done a ton of Dark of the Moon figures, to be honest. They've done Crowbar, or repaint of Crowbar, Ratchet, Sideswipe, and now that new Megatron. I'm hoping that they'll give Dark of the Moon, you know, more of a focus in the coming year or so, because there's a ton of figures they could do that we're all kind of desperately wanting, especially Soundwave and Shockwave. Those two are just ripe for a redo, so I definitely can see them doing those two soon, assuming the series is still successful. Nothing new when it comes to Age of Ultra or Age of Extinction. They've really they haven't been producing any new figures from that one. Most of the figures were part of Wave 1 and 2. And then we have The Last Night. The top ones aren't even Studio Series. It's just those bottom ones there. Really just the two on the bottom, so nothing too new there to discuss. And just some Bumblebee figures. Here's a closer image of that deluxe Barricade. This looks like a nice Barricade. They've made so many Barricade figures in the past that they're getting like the hang of it, really. He's looking great. The head looks a little big in my opinion, but overall I'm a big fan of the arms. I think that the claw hands look wonderful, and then he includes that accessory that he uses in the movie that I don't think we've ever had an accessory for before, so that's quite exciting to see, and I am definitely looking forward to that. Sideswipe looks okay. I'm not a fan of them using a mixture of silver and just plain gray pieces. He should really all be silver, and Sideswipe's just a figure that they don't need to redo, because they nailed Sideswipe from Revenge of the Fallen. The figures that they produced from that movie were just perfect. So this one, of course, is the convertible, and therefore, you know, it's slightly different from Dark of the Moon, so I can see why they maybe want to update that one, but they didn't really update it enough to be considered worth it. If you have the Revenge of the Fallen ones, you really don't need this one. I don't plan to pick it up myself. The World War II Bumblebee looks pretty neat. I've talked about him previously. Not going to really go into that. The new Optimus, which, you know, it's hard to say, like, much about it. I think that it's just kind of like a slightly redone version of the one that was produced before in the series, but it looks alright. It looks like a decent figure. There's just been so many Optimuses, and so many of them that really nailed it, so it's not 100% needed, in my opinion. Here's a nice close image of Bonecrusher. First time we're ever seeing Bonecrusher on display. The official image of him was shown at last... I believe it was at New York Comic-Con, I believe. It might have been San Diego, but I think it's New York. But now we're finally seeing him on display here in person, which is really nice. It's, you know, a good way of seeing what the actual final product will look like. I think that he looks quite nice. I'm a big fan of that head sculpt. I think the head sculpt's really nice. They've really bulked up the heads on these characters. As you can see, Brawl next to him has a big head. He has a big head. They're making him a little bit more prominent, which, you know, in some cases I think looks a little odd, but in some cases it looks quite nice. I think this is one of the cases where it looks pretty nice. I'm a big fan of it. His claw looks quite good. It doesn't look like it's any better than the original claw, though, but just the Transformer himself looks a lot better. Of course, he's in a better scale. Obviously, Voyager suits Bonecrusher a lot more than Deluxe ever did. And then the Deluxe one, I really liked, other than the arms. The arms were really bad. They were just kind of the side of the cars with the little weird alien-like hands that stuck out. Just not accurate and not very pleasing. This is much more accurate and just much better looking in general. The hands look pretty good, although they look a little claw-like. You know, I would like them to be spread out a bit more. I did just pre-order the Bonecrusher from Dream Factory, the kind of leader class one that they're doing, and that one really nails it. It's perfect Bonecrusher. This one's nice. I do like it. For Hasbro, it's quite good, but I would have liked it to be a little bit bigger. It doesn't need to be a leader class, but I would have liked the Voyager to be bigger himself, so that he's kind of almost as tall as Brawl. I think that he should be. But overall, I think that he does look quite nice, and the claws at the feet, I think, look really cool as well. Jetfire, this is probably the best best shot of Jetfire we've ever seen, in my opinion. He has like a head that's way too big, in my opinion, but from this angle it looks alright. I still think it's too big, but it looks a lot better. I do like the cane that he comes with, and then the colors I think look really nice. He's got a good black, a matte black kind of finish with silver details underneath, which I think look really cool. He's got big hands, which He doesn't really hold the axe very naturally. It looks a little strange, but the way that he's holding the cane I think is pretty perfect. And Jetfire is a character that I don't have the original figure for, so I'll be excited to finally add him to my collection, which is nice. Closer image of Rampage and Scrapmetal, the two Constructicons. Again, no image or no long haul present here, but looking great. They really look nice. I'm a big fan of those two. I think they're nailing it. And then a little bit from Bumblebee. We've seen and discussed Shatter before. Overall, I think that the figure mold and design is great. It's just the paint that's lacking. I think that it needs some more decals to really make it pop and not look so sectioned off paint-wise. The red looks a little cheap. And then Dropkick I did just get, and unfortunately his arm broke on me. So you can feel free to watch that video, but I will be you know, doing a review once my replacement comes in. But yeah, overall, there's the look at the figures shown at Tokyo Comic-Con this year from Hasbro for their Studio Series collection. Overall, really excited for a lot of these figures, especially Bonecrusher and the new Megatron from Dark of the Moon. So let me know what you guys think of these figures, and thanks so much for watching.